Hello and welcome. I am Scrapperlock, and this is City of Heroes with on the Everlasting server with our natural tanker, who is an invulnerability super strength tanker. We just got the temporary invulnerability power. I've started monitoring our defenses up here, so you can see just how much we have. And with our powers turned on, we have unyielding, we have temporary invulnerability. I'm going to leave that on for now. We'll see how our endurance goes. We do have endurance reducers in both of these, so that helps a little bit. But we're using about 0.44 endurance per second. I think generally the recovery is about 1 a second, so it's keeping us up there, but as we use our powers, it's going to start draining. So we're in this mission where we have to defeat Rattles and his crew and recover 5 drug stashes. We have to arrest Rattles. So these guys are level 12, they're even level to us, and now we're going to see. And also Dalpain is now recharging at 3.5 minutes because we have 4 recharge enhancers on it. We did that last level. We did not add to physical resist physical damage, and the reason for that is it would only have brought these up to like 48% with 3 dual origin enhancers, so it just wasn't worth spending the influence on that. We currently have 1.27 million influence, which is more than enough to get a full set of single origin enhancements at level 22, so I decided not to be miserly, and we pretty much fully enhanced our character with dual origins. I didn't bother with inherent fitness. I don't do that till single origins, but I did go ahead and put a dual origin in fly to speed up our flight. And now we're going to attack these guys. So now you're going to see with skulls, they're not going to do jack to us because we have 45% resistance to smashing and lethal. Guns are lethal. Punches and clubs and stuff are smashing. So we are resistant to what they do, and they're not going to be able to do anything to our health bar. Now that's not going to help us against Toxic. We're only going to have 10% against that with the Vajalox, so that's still going to make the Vajalox difficult. Although Vajalox do a lot of lethal and smashing as well, and those we will resist. Endurance bar is holding up all right. Without stamina, which you couldn't get before level 20 in the old days, the endurance bar wouldn't be holding up all right with 2 toggles, but the stamina is sort of counteracting one of the toggles, pretty much. So that helps. I'm not going to need that, so I'll just burn it. We have Dalpain every 3.5 minutes, and as you can see, we're not going to need that at all against these guys, because we have so much smashing resistance now. They just can't really do anything to us. We don't have an AoE, or I'd already be at the point where I'd be gathering up bad guys. I can show you. Here we go. So we're going to piss these guys off. Right? Alright, and now we're going to let them follow me. We're going to come up to this one. Right? And we can piss these guys off too. Here we go. This is how you tank. Right now, normally you would just taunt. But we can get everybody pissed off at us. Right? I may have overdone this a little bit, and then you just start beating on them, right? And they really can't do that much to you, so you just kick their butts. Now, I overdid this, I guess. And of course, you'd have invincibility, which would give you some defense like this luck. And then and what you do is instead of what a scrapper would do and wearing everybody down with a tanker, what you do is you sort of alternate from one guy to the other, because you want to keep as many enemies as you want next to you, because when you have invincibility, which we won't get until level 18, you get plus I don't know, what is it, like 5% defense or something for every enemy that's around you, that's adjacent to you. And so if you have like 5 enemies adjacent to you, then nobody can hit you. And so what you do is you turn on invisibility, which I used to have a built-in taunt, and I think it still does. You turn on invincibility, you gather up a whole bunch of bad guys surrounding you. I think 8 is the max, and then more than that doesn't work. You gather up all these bad guys around you, you get this basically generic defense to everything because they're all standing around you, and then you just beat on them, a little bit at a time, and you try to get them all down to a little sliver of health, and then you take them out with like an AoE or something, and that's how you tank. So as you can see, I had to use a couple of inspirations, but we still got most of our tray here. We gained a few from from defeating these guys, but you can see what did I gather up? 2 lieutenants and 6 minions. So I had 2 lieutenants and 6 minions going at me. I was fine. Now, could a scrapper do that at level 12? No. Absolutely not. A super reflex scrapper, at least, would be dead. Now, a regen scrapper might be able to do it depending on whether you've got your powers in, which powers you've got in. But you absolutely can do it with a tanker. And the more defensive powers we get in, the easier it's going to be. And in particular, once we have invincibility, gathering up bad guys like that and just fighting them all at once is going to be a standard tactic for us, because that's how you tank. And it's much more efficient than trying to defeat 3 guys at a time. And when we start getting foot stomp and hand clap and the AoE attacks, it'll be even easier. I'm not going to worry about that now. I just wanted to show kind of how you, sort of the logic of how you gather up enemies and you tank them. And one of the things we're going to do with this character, fairly early on, probably once we get invincibility, and certainly by the time we get SOs, one of the things we're going to do with this character is, rather than bumping the level up, because it's just so slow to defeat bad guys when they're oranges and reds, not that they're any real threat, what I'm going to do is bump the, in the notoriety, bump the number of players, right? Adjust the team size up to 3 or 4, so that there are large spawns. And that will actually make her more powerful, because her invincibility will come into play. Now, who else is shooting me? Where did he come from? Let's see, where'd you come from? I don't know. I don't know where he came from. I was too busy talking. So yeah, I distinctly remember when they put the difficulty settings in, and I had this character who was invuln fire, and I had a super reflex scrapper, martial arts super reflex scrapper. The scrapper, so the way the old difficulty settings used to work was there were 5 settings, right? Or 6 or something. You could go to minus, like easy, which gave you -1s, normal size spawns. Normal, which was spawns of 3 whites or 1 white and 1 yellow lieutenant. 1 level harder, like slightly more difficult, I can't remember what they called it, and that gave you larger spawns, so basically it was like you're on a 3-man team or so. Then 2 levels harder, which gave you +1s, 3 levels harder, which gave you larger spawns of +1s, and then 4 levels harder, which gave you +2s. And I was doing the +2s with, I think +1s or +2s with my scrapper. With my tanker, I was doing like either even level or +1s, but with the more enemies, because again, you kind of get more powerful as a tanker when there are more bad guys. That's kind of the way it works. So you actually want to be surrounded by a bunch of weaklings. As a tanker, you love it. As an invulnerability tanker, you love it. Because invulnerability tankers with invincibility get stronger the more bad guys there are around them, because their defenses go up. And not the resistances, but the defense. Right now, these guys hit me the same as they hit any other character. I don't have defense, I just have resistance. But once I get invincibility, I will have defense on top of the resistance. Right, and we might want to monitor a little of that. Let's see what we can do with that. Let's monitor in the defense. I don't know if base defense will change. Let's go ahead and monitor that. And then we get invincibility at level 18. We'll see how that changes. If that changes. I don't know if it's that, or if it's specific defense to like melee range and AoE, if it's defense to damage types. I believe it doesn't work against psionic, so we're just going to have to see what the power says when we get it. I thought there was a glowy up here, I guess not. Could have sworn I saw something flashing up there, but I guess I didn't. So one thing I hope you've seen is, like, literally, except when I gathered up way too many spawns all at once, like, nothing happens to our health bar now. They can't do anything to me, right? They hit me half the time for half the damage. So they are facing what my scrapper faces when she's up against, say, Circle of Thorns ghosts, and it's got like and the ghosts have 50% damage resistance, and you're missing them half the time. That's what these guys are facing. They can't do anything to me. I'm not even going to need Dull Pain now. Right? Dull Pain is great at the beginning, But now, unless I'm fighting a boss or something, I'm not even going to need it, because they can't do anything to me with smashing and lethal attacks, which is all these guys can do, right? Obviously, if I'm facing fire or energy or any of that, I don't have any resistance to that. And notice, I also don't have any psionic resistance. But resist energies is going to give me energy, fire, and cold, I think. Oh, no, resist elements gives me fire and cold. Resist energy gives me energy and negative energy, I think. Can't remember. Well, we'll find that out as we gain levels. So, against guys who do smashing and lethal, we're now okay to have a taunt. But we don't have good defenses yet against things like fire and energy, cold, etc., as you can see from up here. It's really nice that they have this monitor. This did not exist in the original game. And so, it's nice that they have it now and you can actually see what's going on. You just had to guess. Right? Originally, they didn't tell you the numbers. So you just had to guess. Alright, so I'm not going to really worry about aggroing these guys. I'm going to go ahead and smack this guy around, but I'm probably going to aggro the boss. I don't care. Now he's going to have some kind of powers, I'm sure, that are going to do some... Yeah, see? So that's debuffing me. So we may need Dull Pain against him. And actually, I'm thinking like a scrapper here. I don't need to defeat this guy right now. Whoa, what was that? Alright. Bit of a screen issue there. So we may need Dull Pain against this guy because he's debuffing me. It's going to take a long time to beat him up. And again, I only have 10% defense against him, but Dull Pain is going to give me a lot of hit points, right? We now have 534 hit points. And he does 30 and 60, right? So it's going to take a long time to get me out. That stinks. He healed himself. It's going to take longer to beat him. But that's alright. We got him. Right? Not bad. Got a clue? The clue says, who is Paulie? You heard the skills mentioned a guy named Paulie. We don't know anything about him. So we got some drug stashes to still find, and we got to beat these guys. So you can see that the resistance tanker plays a lot slower than a martial arts super duplex scrapper, let's say, or a stalker, but much safer. There was just no chance that he was going to hurt me, right? The Dull Pain just took care of it. And the resistance, right? Even the 10% resistance is a big help. And then once we have invincibility, and he has a reduced chance to hit us as well, it's just going to be that much more defense, right? That much more protection. So what eventually happens with tankers is, yeah, you gather up a whole bunch of bad guys, and you can stand there and laugh at them. You don't actually have to do any damage. You can't take them out, but they can't take you out either. Which is why tankers, if they really want to tank for teams, and they're not trying to solo, will crank the defenses, not worry about the offense, and they just stay on the team and just taunt, taunt, taunt. Provoke, provoke, provoke. And Invulnerability remains one of the better defensive sets, I believe. I think it used to be considered the second best behind Stone. I'm not sure now with Willpower how they rank. I've also played Fire Melee, Fiery Defense, and Fiery Defense is pretty cool. Fiery Aura, I guess. Okay, we found a recipe. I'm gonna go ahead and click the glowies. There's gonna be one more after this. Is there anybody down here? Sometimes there's somebody down there. I'm starting to get used to these maps again. Okay, so this way, I think there was, yep, And there's a glowy upstairs, right? Right here. There's still going to be some bad guys over here, so I'm going to arrest them. Right, because why not? Gained half a level from this one mission. Which is a little silly. So we're going to beat these guys up and then we'll head out. So if you see this happening with the power bar shifting up, that's when you press control. It does that. Control tab. Let's finish this guy. Control tab selects the nearest target. You can also just click on, so if you deselect something, you can also just click on this and it will, an attack power, and it will select the nearest target. And then, so you can sort of double click and it will select and then attack. Now there's more. Okay. We're Liberty Last. We're not going to let Skulls hang out in this warehouse without arresting them. Much slower than a Scrapper, guys, but a lot less risk. Notice our health bar just doesn't even move. Right? It's up in the max area. And it stays in the max area because just they can't do anything to us with lethal damage. Now, don't get too spoiled, right? Because when we get into Vajalox, they're going to be hitting us with Toxic. And they're going to hit us a lot, just like they do with Scrappers. Not always, because they do some lethal and some smashing. But they are going to hit us with Toxic. When we fight the Clockworks, they're going to be hitting us with Electricity, which is energy. When we fight the Tsu, they're going to be hitting us with Energy Melee and some other things. So, we're not always going to be able to be as resistant as we are to these guys. And even the Hellions have burn patches and stuff, as you may have seen in the Scrapper video. But this character will do much better because of the resistances and how high the lethal and smashing resistance are. They're the most common attacks in the game, and therefore the most often resisted, but they're also the most often you're attacked with. Alright, so we did pretty well in that mission. Got a bunch of enhancements now that we don't need, because we just got all of our enhancements. And now we can call Rubel. Is he going to give us a story arc? Not yet. So we're just going to leave him alone for now. And now her mission is to defeat Gears. So now we're going to fight Clockwork. So you're going to see we'll do both better and worse, right? Because we can smash the Clockworks, and they take a lot of smashing damage. But they're going to be cutting into our endurance, just like with a Scrapper, with our Scrapper. But also, we only have 10% energy resistance, right? We don't have resistance to the Clockworks the way we did to the Skulls, right? Skulls do mostly smashing and lethal, 45% resistance to them, but the Clockworks do energy. I don't think electric is separate. Let's see. Smashing, lethal, fire, cold, energy, negative energy. Yeah, I think electric is just considered an energy attack. Now, one of the things I haven't done is gone into Architect Entertainment and used player-made missions. Some of these can be pretty cool. And maybe one of my characters I'll try to level just going through Architect Entertainment missions. That might be actually kind of fun. Some players do a really good job. And the guys who are running Homecoming are doing like developer choice for some of these, like if they are really good. So like they try to let you know which are the good ones. Okay, so now, so the disadvantage of Clockworks attacking us is that they are going to do more damage to us. The advantage, however, is we're going to do more damage to them. They are highly vulnerable to knockback, and they're also highly vulnerable to smashing, which is the same deal as our martial artist. So you can see our health bar is moving a little bit more. These are blue cons, of course. Alright. But they are vulnerable to smashing, as we showed on the martial arts super reflex scrapper. So yeah, I don't know, maybe I was stupid to have characters that do the same damage type. I could have made her energy melee or something, but it's fine. Now what I need with these guys is a nice AoE smashing attack, but that doesn't come in until hand clap and foot stomp, which are much later. Right. We're gonna get knockout blow even first, before foot stomp. Which is most tankers' favorites, is foot stomp. And just to re-emphasize that some tankers like don't take attacks, I saw somebody who was a level, I think it was 49 or 50 tanker. If you look at the powers here, they had, I think, punch, haymaker, taunt, hand clap, rage, and foot stomp. They didn't have knockout blow, they didn't have hurl, they didn't have jab. Or they had jab, I'm sorry, jab and haymaker. Or jab and punch. It was like, so they skipped knockout blow, hurl, right? And one of the, either haymaker or punch, right? Because, again, as a tanker, what they want to do is taunt and hold aggro, not necessarily do damage. But to me, by level 50, you have enough room, now that you don't have to take the fitness pool as separate powers, you have enough room to get all your primaries and all your secondaries. I don't know why at level 50 you wouldn't have them all. But we're definitely going to take them, and we're going to slot them. Because we are going to do, I mean, we will be a beautiful tanker. We're going to make sure we slot all of our defenses, but we will take the attacks and we will slot them. I don't believe in this nonsense of taking like pool provoke, taking tough and weave to get this lethal defense and smashing defense even higher, resistance even higher. I don't believe in doing that. I don't think we're going to need tough and weave on this character. That comes out of the fighting pool. A lot of people, and this person had it, he had boxing, tough, and weave. I rather get the primary defenses in, get the secondary attacks in, and do as little with the pools as I can while I'm working on the primaries and secondaries. And I'll bring the pools in maybe later. We're definitely going to get hover. Where's gears? Where are these guys? There's a cog. See how they go down a lot faster than skulls. But they also do a little more damage as they go down, right? Because they're doing energy. Right? It is. The oscillator hit me for 5 points of smashing and 9 points of energy. Oops, I thought I hit this. Don't see anybody around here. Okay. Alright, let's head this way. I guess we don't need to toggle this on and off, so we can leave that up there now. Endeavors is holding up okay. And the next couple powers are going to be like hover, resist elements, and resist energies or something, and then eventually invincible. resist energies and resist elements are passives, not toggles. Now, once we get the invincibility toggle, that's going to be rough on the endurance, right? Because we're going to have to be running 3 toggles. Right, and this is why I don't keep sprint going, because it just uses too much endurance. Okay. Is there anybody in here? How about going up? Whoops. Sorry, I lost my grip on the mouse there for a sec. I'm guessing Gears is going to be back here. Usually this is where the bad guys, the main bad guys hide out in this kinds of maps, in this little twisty area. Let's beat up the cocks. Okay. I'm not really rescuing any hostages or anything. So, oh, must be another level. Yep. This can be like regular offices up to 5 levels, so we're on the 4th level now. This looks like a final room. And there's Gears. Okay. So we're going to be a scrapper here and take out the weak guys. We're not facing smashing and lethal only here. So we're going to need to make sure we don't have too many guys pounding on us. And then when the hit points go down, we'll just go ahead and dull pain when it gets to around there. Oh, there's another guy. Take him out. Oh yeah, they're definitely coming after me. Interesting. It's almost like a little ambush. Ouch. Alright, dull pain time. Oh, he's summoning guys now. Interesting. Now see, this is something, as a scrapper, you wouldn't face because he'd already be down. You wouldn't have had time to summon little guys. Right, so some of this is down to you can't take out the boss fast enough. He might even be able to do it again. I don't know how often he can summon them. It just takes a long time to take out bad guys. Come on, there we go, we got him. Now we got these little Gears to take out. Wow, 4 of them? Usually they only spawn 1 or 2. You can see our endurance bar is definitely suffering from all those hits we had to do. So we gotta get endurance on these attacks. Are you guys ever gonna stop? What are they saying? Gears are destroyed, repair units dispatched. Come on. Let's do a little extra damage. Another gear. Is that everybody? Looks like it. Alright, we can head out to Alice Park 2. Alright, so that's been 2 missions with our newly enhanced and upgraded powers. We're getting very close, I think, to level 13. We're about 60% of the way there. And I will probably get there in the next episode. But for now, I'm going to go back to Athena Curry. I'm going to turn in this mission. I'm not going to make you guys watch that. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I'll see you again next time.